seen that
Why
title.
did you respond about it? So today I am joined with none other than Guled. I'm amazing. Didn't get much sleep, but we're here, alhamdulillah.
Good to
So
hear that.
Guled, for the people that are watching, right? Give them a brief introduction into who you are. So your background, where you studied, what you currently do outside of sort of high ticket sales and appointments there. Sure.
So as the brother mentioned, my name is Guled. I come from the corporate world. I've been working in the corporate world for about a decade now, primarily in the pharmaceutical industry, in the healthcare industry. So prior to obviously entering the corporate world, I went through the traditional educational path of college, university, etc. Studied biomedical science up to a master's level. And yeah, alhamdulillah, I've been in the corporate world for 10 years. I did pretty well for myself working in the pharma industry. And yeah, around about a year ago, I've transitioned into high ticket sales, primarily appointment setting. And here we are today with Brother Musa, alhamdulillah, in his coaching program, taking benefit left, right, and center.
Okay, you said you studied up to a master's degree. How long was that in terms of time?
In terms of time, is a long. I was at university for about 4.5 years, so it was a three-year undergraduate degree, and then about a year and a
Yeah.
half to do a top-up master's degree. But that's postgraduate study, so 4.5 years at university. No joke.
4.5 years at university just to get into the pharma industry.
Just to get into the pharma industry. When I left university, I was 24 years old when I left uni. I
Most
started.
people leave at 21, no?
Yeah, but I did an extra year at college and things like that. So yeah, I ended up leaving at 24 years old. Late
MashaAllah,
bloomer. Late
tabarakallah.
bloomer. Yeah.
Now, funny enough, I went to college and I went back to college because I studied IT and then I studied engineering. SubhanAllah.
Okay.
It's necessary sometimes.
It's necessary, isn't it?
Inshallah. So then, Guled, what had you interested in getting into high ticket sales in the first place if you've already got 10 years of experience in the pharmaceutical industry?
You see, obviously, like you mentioned, 10 years in the pharma industry, I've done pretty well for myself, right? But
Not
in
bad.
my mind, I can see the ceiling, right? I can see that there's a roadblock ahead, and the way the world's changed now in the past 5 years, I can see a lot of income that's sort of moving towards online. A lot of people are generating income online, remotely. And with a lot of these corporate jobs, that's not really possible. You know, and from the research I've done and from the case studies that I've seen, you can get a master's degree or a bachelor's degree and work 10 years in the corporate world, right? And your salary probably on a monthly basis will not exceed K, maximum 5K, right? And even then it's not a remote income either.
Yeah.
Whereas you can, for example, enter the high ticket sales space, take a course for 6 months to a year and be earning the same amount that someone who's been in the corporate world for 10 years studying 50,000 books is making. So if you weigh the two up, it's a mismatch. In reality, it's an absolute mismatch. So that's something I've seen. Maybe I've seen it too late, but better now than never.
You mentioned something interesting and it made me think of a question, right? What do you feel like the biggest thing that's different between, you know, you working in the pharmaceutical industry, corporate 9 to 5?
Yeah.
What's different between that and your experience in the high ticket sales space?
What I will say is with the corporate side of things, no matter how, for example, you might be employed full time and they'll employ you from the hours of 9 to 5, right? If you put in more work than that, your income is still the same.
Yeah.
So your income is not directly linked to the effort that you put in. It's a different game in high ticket sales. What you put in is what you will actually get out. So the rewards are higher. The rewards are definitely higher with high ticket sales space.
Okay. Would you say that's the main and only difference from your experience?
Not just that, it's also the fact of the remote aspect. Okay. From my experience, there are in the corporate world a lot of jobs now. Since COVID happened, there's a lot of jobs that are becoming remote, but it's remote with what I call an asterisk. So if the company has their headquarters in the UK, they'll allow you to work under a remote contract, but you need to be based in the UK. So they won't expect you to come to the office. In their words, remote means you don't have to come to the office, not complete location of freedom. You can't be in France or Australia or somewhere like that, you know? So that's what I mean by asterisk. Whereas obviously with high ticket sales, you can work from anywhere at any time. You can be on holiday and be working, right? And then still making money. So yeah, that's a huge factor, I'd say.
MashaAllah. So then from you getting into high ticket sales sort of about a year ago, where would you say you're sort of at now?
So, Alhamdulillah, at the moment, I'm on an offer, and it's an offer that sort of aligns with my goals, with my aspirations, and sort of with my expertise in terms of my background knowledge that I have from the corporate world, the
Yeah,
pharma industry. So, at the moment, I'm on that offer, Alhamdulillah. I've done training. One thing I forgot to mention, of course, is I've been on another training course previously prior to joining your course as well. So, I've got sufficient course knowledge, I would say, and now on this offer, alhamdulillah, it's an offer that's in the healthcare industries for a dentist, actually, to be precise. And yeah, it aligns with obviously my time zone, and it's healthcare related. So it's something that sort of is easy for me to understand, right?
yeah.
So the goal now is obviously just to push this offer and then try to maximize this offer as much as possible.
Allah. Like you mentioned, you joined the course previously before joining my course. What made you join my course if you already joined the course before?
So one thing I feel is if you're on a course with a coach or a mentor, I'm the kind of person, and I want my coach to be present. I want access to my coach. I need to see my coach. I need to hear my coach.
Okay.
What I found with the other offer is the owner of the coaching course delegates the coaching calls and various aspects, or all the aspects of the mentorship program, to other people that they hire, right? So they'll hire someone to take the coaching calls and the mentorship aspect of the program. So you don't really have access to them. They're behind the
Mm,
wall, behind the veil. One thing I've seen with you is you're there, you're physically present, you're with your mentees, they have easy access to you, right? And that's an absolute game changer for me, I think.
okay, khair.
There's nothing
MashaAllah. Subhanallah.
like getting benefit directly from the source.
Yeah.
Everyone joins the course because they want to hear your point of view. We don't want to hear someone else's
Mm,
point. So yeah, not to say the other course wasn't beneficial. Of course, that's still knowledge in the bank, but
mm.
this is the key point for me. I need to have access.
Okay, khair. And since joining, you feel like you've had that an adequate amount of access?
100%, 100%. I think I would say you put in more effort than the mentees. I would say.
Inshallah. Let me not speak on that. I don't wanna get them in trouble.
Nah, that's the truth, I think.
Wow. Okay, khair. So what would you say is the biggest factor that allowed you to secure the role that you're currently working on? Is
I would say two things. Number one, network. I think network is so underrated, right? Because let's go back a bit. So when I reached out to you on Instagram, I was, I think, quite direct. I said, "Salaam alaikum, Musa. I like your content. I like what you're doing. I want to hear more about how you train setters and help setters land roles. Let's chat." It was quick and to the point. We hopped on a call the next day, and the day after that, I was on an interview. So that's the power of network. And I only got
yeah,
that role because obviously you're connected to the offer owner, right?
yeah.
So without joining your course, without speaking to you, without reaching out to you on Instagram, that wouldn't have been possible. No way. So
Mm,
that's the power of network, number one. And I think also once I got on the interview, probably an important point for all setters to know, or the all setters that are new to the industry, is it doesn't matter if you don't have the numbers, if you don't have the experience, if you don't have cold, hard numbers, it doesn't really matter. I think what matters also to offer owners is what value can you bring outside of pure numbers, right? The setter is the first point of contact for all the leads.
yeah.
So the amount of information that the setter receives is invaluable to the business. The setter is the one who's going to be taking on all these points, right? Drafting a list and then sending that feedback onto the sales team or whoever's part of the offer team and say, okay, look, this is what I've seen. This is where we need to tweak the offer in order to sort of maximize the offer. So that's one thing. And another point I would say is outside obviously the cold hard numbers is, you know what, let's leave it at that for now.
One thing I'll say, I think, is that you displayed something in your interview, Allah about it, that most setters don't. And I would call it forward thinking. I know a lot of the top performers would call it the same thing in the industry. And it's the ability to understand, okay, I'm about to undertake something. What things do I need to know in order to give me the best opportunity to succeed, right? And when you're speaking to a business owner, because that's what they have to constantly be in that mindset. So when they meet someone that's doing a role that most people see as disposable, they realize, subhanAllah, having this thing is difficult. It's not common for the average person to have. So when I have a team member that thinks exactly the same way, they are going to be an asset because you're going to ask questions about your field that they didn't even know, or they didn't even think about, or they didn't even know was relevant for you to
Yeah.
succeed well. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. That was something about you. And you also mentioned that when you reached out to me on Instagram, it was direct, right? Now, what I'd say about that is just from the message alone, because I was like, yeah, let's hop on a call and I sent you the link. There wasn't much of a conversation because you knew what you wanted. And most people are in a headspace of they're unsure. So they have to be convinced, right? And it's not as productive for an individual to make a decision from uncertainty. If you know, okay, Khair, I want this outcome, so I'm going to look for every avenue to attain this thing, then it becomes a lot easier to get to your result because you're just looking for ways to get there. If you're unsure about the destination you're headed towards, well, maybe I want it, maybe I don't want it, maybe possibly. If you don't have any conviction, everything that you try, you're guaranteed failure just
Yeah.
off the offset, purely because you aren't even sure if you want that thing. You know, and those are the two things about you that were innate. They weren't
Yeah.
things that I gave you. They weren't things that I taught you. And they can be taught to an individual. It just takes time and a lot of experience.
Allah.
Okay, fair.
Also
So
to
then,
add, I've,
oh, Bismillah.
another thing just came to my mind actually was a lot of offer owners, they want you to be invested in their offer. So you need to show, if you're new to the industry, you need to show that you're willing to understand the offer, right? You're interested in the offer. And how do you do that is you ask questions about the offer. You show them that, okay, I want to understand what you're selling, right? And the good thing about this is, about asking these questions is a lot of times the offer owner knows the pain points of the prospects. So
Yeah.
it's almost insider knowledge for you. The offer owner will tell you, okay, this is my target market. This is what they're struggling with. This is where they want to get to. This is what they normally would have tried, etc. X, Y, Z. Then when you go on the calls, you've already got in the back of your mind all these points. You can preempt what points the leads are going to mention. Okay, I'm struggling with this. I'm struggling with that. I'm looking to it makes perfect sense to get all the information you can from the offer owner, and that way they'll know. Okay, this person, he's invested. He's loyal. You know, he's looking to grow with me
Oh,
with it.
about it.
So, and that has
There's
to
two
come from
things you said.
the heart. You have to be.
Yeah.
You can't fake that. So that's one thing I'd mention to everyone.
Loyalty is something that's so difficult to find because every person that comes into this space that isn't a part of the Muslim setter circle, right? Because I set expectations and I let them properly, is
Yeah,
that they treat it as a cash cow. Every offer is like, well, what's the OTE? How much money can I make from this offer? How much money are other people making on this offer? Because I just want money. And as much as that serves you well, I've got responsibilities. You've got responsibilities. We need money to live. If that is the only focus that you have when it comes to your position in a company, you're going to be replaceable.
easily.
Because if I wanted to find someone that wanted to make money, I don't have to look for. If I want to find someone that is going to live and die by the business and make a lot of money in the process, it's going to be harder to find purely because living and dying by the business means sometimes the months aren't going to look as attractive as others, right?
Exactly.
Doesn't mean you have to stay on an offer forever, but it means for as long as you're on that offer, this is your baby, just like it's the offer owner's baby. Solving problems in the business isn't just one person's priority and one person's responsibility. It's everyone's, you know? And I feel like that's something you innately understood, which made you having such a quick turnaround time. Actually, from joining to on a roll within 48 hours, you didn't even record a moon video. I just said, are you free at 2 p.m.? And you said, yes. I said, calm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Saw it. Do you get what I'm saying? And
Let's
then
go.
next thing you know, you're on a roll. I said this to you, and I'll say this again, just for the sake of the people that are watching. The biggest sign, in my opinion, that there is khair in something for you, granted that you're making dua and khair istikhara, you're doing all of these things, is the amount of opportunities that come as a result of a decision that you've made. And it's specifically you and another brother, that in joining the program, there was an abundance of opportunity that came very easily just off the back of it, that made me think, subhanallah, the momentum that you get from one win to another, to another, to another, to another. It's like they say, you can fail, you can spiral downwards, right? One bad thing leads to another, leads to another. The same way you can spiral upwards, but you have to match that momentum one after the other. So Guled, I don't want to keep you too long, right? You've shared a lot of valuable information for something that's going to go online for free. Which is great. It's all about value and helping brothers out. My question would be, if you was to give advice to someone thinking about getting into the high ticket sales space, what advice would you give them?
I would say 100%. It's not something you should hesitate on. Going back to what I mentioned at the start of this discussion I was just having, Brother Musa, you can go through a rigorous 5-10 year education program and you won't potentially get the same reward, or it's likely you won't receive the same rewards that you receive in the high ticket sales space. So going back to weighing up the opportunity, right? It's a mismatch. With high ticket
Mm.
sales, even moving away from high ticket sales, sales is a skill in life in general, right? Even if, which is unlikely, even if someone was not to succeed in sales, right? Sales is something that you require in different areas of your life. For example, someone's looking to get married. What are they doing? In essence, they're selling themselves, okay?
Yeah.
I would say anyone that's looking or on the fence, take the plunge. They say the biggest risk is not taking a risk. The rewards in high ticket sales are endless, from time freedom, location freedom, income that's not capped. It's a no-brainer, I would say. And I'm already seeing the benefits working with you just for 3 weeks, 2 weeks. So, alhamdulillah, I would say anyone looking to enter this space, pray 2 rakah istikhara and bismillah and go for it.
Guled, that was
Barakallah. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.